On our wedding anniversary, I waited for Emily at the restaurant we had agreed upon. An hour had passed, and she still hadn't shown up.
Sir, we will be closing in half an hour. Would you like to?
Serve it now, please.
A candlelit dinner for two, but I was the only one enjoying it. Worried that Emily hadn't eaten, I packed an extra meal to take home. On the way back, I received a video. It was a clip of my wife, Emily, passionately kissing the popular actor, Jack. As an actor myself, I knew that kissing scenes were common, but the intensity and fervor in the video went beyond professional boundaries. I could tell. A dull ache settled in my heart. When I got home, Emily, reeking of alcohol, was lying on the couch, rubbing her forehead.
Where have you been? Why are you back so late?
Do you remember what day it is today?
What day could it be? Every day is a filming day.
Let's get a divorce.
Emily paused and then checked her phone's calendar.
I just forgot our anniversary. Is that a reason to get a divorce?
It wasn't just about the anniversary. At some point, Emily's heart had started to drift away. I showed her the video. Emily looked flustered at first but quickly regained her composure.
You were an actor too. You know kissing scenes are common. This is normal. Just because you stopped acting doesn't mean others should.
Emily used to love and care for me deeply. She never mentioned acting in front of me, knowing it was a sensitive topic. But now, she spoke bluntly, as if it were a trivial matter.
Kissing scenes are common, but was that just a simple kissing scene?
Emily didn't respond. Her attitude left me feeling completely disheartened.
I'll have the lawyer draft the divorce papers tomorrow.
Divorce? I won't agree to it, so don't even bring it up. Besides, how will you support yourself after the divorce?
Since my facial injury, I had become a full-time house husband. Back then, Emily would gently touch my face and say, "Michael, it's okay. You still look as handsome as before." She would kiss my scars and assure me of her love. But now, looking at her confident demeanor, I realized everything had changed.
I have hands and feet. I can earn my own living. Remember to sign the papers tomorrow.
I left the house.
You think you can find a good job? You're disfigured, you know.
Her words hit me so hard that I could barely stand. Yes, I was scarred. How could she use that to hurt me? Once, Emily and I were college classmates. We were both top students in the drama department. Rehearsing and acting together had become a routine. I don't know when it started, but we grew closer and closer.
Shall we go to the library this weekend?
I was about to say my line when Emily whispered in my ear.
Actually, I want to ask, do you want to go on a date with me this weekend?
I wasn't usually tongue-tied, but looking into Emily's sparkling eyes, my ears turned red, and I couldn't say no. So, we naturally got together. Emily's family was well off. Her father was a famous director, and her mother was a renowned actress. I, on the other hand, was a poor boy from a small town who had barely made it to college. My parents were both workers. Fortunately, I had good looks, and many people in the academy said I was incredibly lucky to be with Emily. So, when graduation came, I couldn't help but feel anxious.
Don't worry, Michael, you'll find something soon.
At that time, Emily had already landed her first role, while I was still struggling to find one. Emily was picky about food, and sometimes I had to take time to bring her meals. It was on one such day that I was glad I went to see Emily. The crew had released some fake news to create a buzz. The headline read, "Newcomer in Starting Over Acts Like a Diva, Yells at Veteran Actress." The plan was to clear things up once the buzz was created, but an extreme fan of the veteran actress tried to throw acid at Emily the next day, under the pretense of visiting the set.
People like you who don't respect your seniors should just disappear.
Emily, being new to the industry, was so scared she couldn't move. I quickly dropped the lunchbox and stood in front of her. Although my arm blocked most of it, a part of my face was still scarred. The fan was subdued on the spot, and I was taken to the hospital.
Are you stupid? Why did you stand in front of me?
Because I love you.
After that, she, who had never cooked before, clumsily learned from online tutorials and visited me whenever she had a break from filming. But I was scarred, and there were hardly any roles for me. Without connections, no director would hire me. Emily proposed to marry me, but her parents disagreed. That was the first time I saw Emily argue with her parents.
What kind of family does he come from? And what kind of family do you come from? Are you crazy, trying to drive us mad by bringing him home?
I sat there, feeling extremely awkward.
I want to marry him. If you don't let me, then don't consider me your daughter anymore.
She firmly chose me, and that's how we got married. I thought as long as I loved her, we could always be together. But reality gave me a harsh slap. I contacted a lawyer to draft the divorce agreement and had it sent to Emily. Then I went to the hospital to pick up my regular medication. Looking at my face in the mirror, I quickly averted my gaze. At that moment, I received a location message from Emily. I was her emergency contact. Even though we were preparing for a divorce, I couldn't just ignore it. With this in mind, I hurried to the location after picking up my medication. When I arrived at the film set, I used the excuse of visiting to get in, only to find Emily eating with David. David had a handsome face and was asking Emily to feed him. I wanted to leave, but I accidentally tripped over a prop on the ground and fell. Everyone on the set turned to look. Emily walked over and helped me up, her eyes filled with undisguised disdain.
What are you doing here? And without a mask?
Emily, who is this?
A friend.
No wonder she never wanted me to visit the set or bring her food. She was afraid I'd embarrass her. The discussions among the crew grew louder.
Oh my God. His face is terrifying.
So unpleasant to look at, especially standing next to Emily. It's like an assault on the eyes.
Why is he holding Emily's hand? Is he trying to take advantage of her?
Are fans this disgusting now?
At that moment, a voice made Emily alert.
The ring on his hand looks just like the one Emily used to wear.
I hadn't taken off my wedding ring yet. Hearing this, I instinctively looked at Emily's hand. She wasn't wearing her wedding ring. Instead, she wore a plain ring, matching the one on David's hand. Emily quickly addressed the crew.
Sorry everyone, I'll take my friend outside. It's my fault today, I'll treat everyone to milk tea.
With that, Emily shook off my hand and walked out quickly. Once we were outside the set, Emily couldn't hold back her temper any longer.
What are you doing here?
I received an emergency contact message on my phone.
I lent my phone to someone else. I'm an adult, what could possibly happen to me? Can you stop showing up unexpectedly?
The impatient Emily now was a stark contrast to the Emily of the past. Back then, when I visited the set, she would happily pull me to sit with her. She would eat all the food I made, saying I was the best husband in the world. But now she had changed. Maybe marrying her was a mistake from the start.
I won't come again. The divorce agreement has been sent to you by the lawyer. Please sign it quickly.
How many times do I have to say it? I won't divorce you.
Just then, Chris came out.
Emily, your phone is still with me.
He handed the phone to Emily, then turned to me and said,
So, this is your husband?
Yes, that's him. My dad's birthday is coming up. I'll let you know when it is. Don't bring up the divorce again.
With that, she walked away without looking back. Out of her sight, David gave me a provocative look, patted my shoulder, and said bluntly,
"You're not good enough for Emily, so be sensible."
Within a couple of days, a video of me visiting Emily on set went viral online. My face became the hottest topic of discussion.
Is this a stalker? He won't let go of Emily.
Compared to him, David looks so handsome it's dizzying.
Emily better be careful. Fans nowadays will do anything.
Emily and David look so good together, they're a perfect match.
Reading the comments under the entertainment news, I felt utterly devastated. Just then, I received an anonymous text message.
Here's a gift for you. Take a good look at yourself. Leaving Emily is the best choice for you.
Though it was anonymous, I could guess it was from David.
Did you post the video online?
Yes, it was me. By the way, I also sent you the kissing video. Enjoy.
I sent all the screenshots to Emily, but she only replied,
Anonymous messages, how do you know who sent them? Even if you don't like David, you shouldn't slander him.
Once, Emily believed in me unconditionally, but now, everything I said seemed like a lie. David sent another message.
I've arranged for you to receive an invitation to tomorrow's award ceremony. Come and see for yourself, otherwise, you would never get one in your lifetime.
That night, I received the invitation. I didn't want to go, but Emily still hadn't signed the divorce papers. I decided I couldn't wait any longer. The next day, I entered the award ceremony venue with the invitation. Coincidentally, Richard and Helen were seated right in front of me. Emily won Best Actress, and on stage, she gave her acceptance speech without mentioning me once. In the end,
I want to thank Mr. David for his constant support, giving me warmth and help during my low points.
David, as the presenter, applauded beside her. The ceremony was being live-streamed, and the comments were full of praise for their pairing. I heard Helen say,
David is so much better than Matthew. Emily was deceived by that liar Matthew.
Matthew's family background is worse than the dogs we keep.
If only David and Emily could get married, anyone is better than Matthew.
I knew they never liked me. Over the years, whenever I visited the Song family, all I received were cold stares and criticism. But why did they have to say I was worse than a dog? Thinking of all the past grievances, I couldn't hold back anymore. I lifted my foot and kicked Richard's seat back. All eyes turned to us, and Richard turned around. Seeing it was me, he immediately got angry.
Are you crazy? Do you know who you just kicked?
Richard had never shown me any kindness. He always thought I was unworthy of his daughter, like a flower stuck in manure. He often publicly said I was jobless and useless. Now, I couldn't tolerate it anymore.
I kicked you. Do you need a mirror to see for yourself?
Being spoken to in such a tone by someone he despised, Richard was furious.
Are you rebelling? Am I wrong? You're worse than a dog. That dog cost us tens of thousands abroad. How much do you think you're worth?
Emily was rushing over, her face looking a bit troubled upon hearing this.
Daring to kick the chair, if it weren't for the Song family, you'd be out in the cold. Marrying my daughter was the luckiest thing that ever happened to you, otherwise, you wouldn't even have a chance.
Richard was so angry he looked like he was about to faint. Emily quickly patted his back.
My dad is old, why do you have to argue with him? Just apologize.
All the reporters focused their cameras on us, the sound of flashing lights never stopped. We were surrounded by famous directors and actors. Today, I wanted them to see the true faces of these people.
Director Song is old. As juniors, we shouldn't treat our elders this way. Matthew, you went too far.
Looking at David's sanctimonious face, I picked up a nearby potted plant and threw it at him. The pot shattered, and the soil flew into David's mouth. He spat out the dirt along with a tooth.
Didn't expect you to be so weak, I didn't even use much force.
David probably didn't expect me to act so directly, he came at me wanting to hit me. But what else could I do besides not working? Of course, I worked out. David couldn't beat me, within a minute he was sitting on the ground. The reporter's cameras were almost in his face.
Don't take pictures! I'll sue anyone who takes a picture.
Hearing this, the reporters hesitated. I went up and pried David's hand away from his face.
Take pictures, take as many as you can. There are so many reporters, can he sue all of them? If he sues, I'll be the one to take the hit.
The reporters looked at each other, then the first shutter sound was heard, followed by countless others. David's face, swollen like a pig's head, would be on the headlines tomorrow.
Divorce, you must divorce him.
Using that as a threat? I've wanted a divorce for a long time.
With that, I took out the divorce papers from my bag. Throwing the pen on the table, I sat down.
Sign it.
Richard hurriedly urged Emily.
Emily, sign it quickly.
He glared at me viciously.
Once you're divorced, I'll make sure you go to jail.
Before Emily could speak, reporters surrounded us.
In a previous video, you claimed this gentleman was just a friend. Is he actually your partner?
What is your relationship with Jack? Why did you only mention Jack in your acceptance speech and not your partner?
Are you currently in a divorce scandal? Did you cheat?
Emily's face turned pale, the microphone was almost in her mouth, but she had nothing to say. I took out our marriage certificate, letting the reporters take pictures.
I am her partner. As for her and Jack, I don't know what's going on.
Just one sentence was enough to let people's imaginations run wild.
He's a useless bum. If it worked for the Song family, if it worked for my daughter, he would have gone back to his small town long ago. Where would he have all this wealth and glory now? Emily, sign the papers.
I picked up an orange and stuffed it into Richard's mouth, not wanting to hear him speak. Emily walked up to me.
Do you really have to do this? I don't know what misunderstanding you have, but I never thought about divorce. Just apologize, and this will be over. After all, my dad is so upset, you need to give him an explanation.
I took off my wedding ring and casually threw it to the reporters.
Here, it's yours.
Looking at Emily's still beautiful face, I said emotionlessly.
I want a divorce, don't you understand?
The commotion finally ended when the organizers intervened. The next day, the news broke, and public opinion shifted. Countless people began to criticize Emily and David. David started losing a lot of followers, and Emily had no choice but to issue a statement.
David and I are just good friends. My husband is Michael. I said he was a friend because I didn't want to expose too much of my privacy. I hope everyone can understand.
However, netizens were not convinced, and her statement was met with insults and accusations.
Acting is no longer an option for me. I am too old, and my face limits my roles. But I still have my skills.
At home, I often read acting books and practiced in front of the mirror. Eventually, I found a job as a substitute teacher at a university.
Mr. Michael, your performance is excellent. Your talent shines through. You can start teaching next Monday.
Thank you. I hadn't felt this excited in years.
Back in the acting department, I was one of the top students, but after my face was injured, I lost my confidence. Old friends would always give me strange looks.
Considering your feelings, maybe you should stay home as a house husband.
But now, everything had changed. I realized there was no reason to feel ashamed of my face. My scars were marks of my kindness.
If someone discriminates against me because of my face, it's their problem, not mine.
Life slowly began to get back on track. I started my busy teaching life, and my scars and excellent teaching skills made me somewhat popular on the school forum. The next time I saw Emily was at a public lecture. She had been calling me constantly, and when I couldn't take it anymore, I blocked her number.
What are you doing here? Why haven't you been answering my calls?
Who knows why he's here? The students must be terrified by his face.
David still held a grudge against me, especially since his swollen-faced photos had gone viral online.
This has nothing to do with you,
I said, preparing to leave.
Are you really not coming home?
You already have a husband. Why should I go back?
He's not my husband. Didn't I tell you he's just a good friend?
Before I could respond, the lecture was about to start.
I'll talk to you later,
she said, walking into the hall with David. As the lecture was ending, the professor on stage made an announcement.
I'd like to invite 2 audience members to perform a scene with me.
Coincidentally, I was the first one chosen. I was to play the role of Eugene in the scene from Farewell My Concubine. Without costumes or props, I had to perform in front of everyone. Playing a female role as a male actor required capturing the essence and details. 10 minutes later, the performance ended. The professor praised me.
Your performance was deeply moving. The details and techniques were excellently executed.
The audience erupted in applause. My gaze swept past Emily, who seemed a bit dazed. After the lecture, Emily found me.
Your acting is still so good. Can we not get divorced? Let's go back to how we were before. If you don't like David, I won't contact him anymore,
she said, holding my hand and shaking it. It had been so long since she treated me like this. When did it start that I came home to a tired, impatient face, always making me feel like I had done something wrong? I removed her hand.
Impossible.
Emily looked like she was about to cry, but I didn't relent.
Didn't you hear what your father called me?
I heard, but I'm their only daughter. They didn't mean any harm. If you come back, we can live well together and stop fighting, okay?
Over the years, it wasn't just David, but also our families. I could be a house husband, always taking care of Emily, being her forever support. But only if she treated me as her husband, not like a dog being scolded and still trying to smooth things over.
Would you accept my mom talking to you like that? Would you accept me kissing other actresses? If you can't accept it, then why do this to me?
Seeing Emily's speechless expression, I added,
If my family talked to you like that, I would definitely stand up for you.
I'll talk to my parents. David is really just a good friend.
Seeing Emily's desperate defense, I almost laughed.
What kind of friend kisses like that? You like him, admit it. After all, I'm disfigured, I have nothing.
People change, but admitting it is hard. Every time, Emily liked my left side facing her because it wasn't injured. From saying she didn't mind at first, to later getting tired of it. Goodnight kisses always landed on the left cheek, and she always sat on my left during meals.
I don't like him. You were the one who saved me back then.
So she still remembered. But whether that love was due to the bridge effect, guilt, or something else, was no longer important. I didn't need it anymore.
We can't go back, it's impossible.
Seeing she couldn't gain any advantage, Emily started acting spoiled, a tactic she loved using during our university days.
I don't care. I won't divorce.
Then let's just drag it out.
With that, I ignored Emily and went back to the dorm. After that day, Emily started coming to see me frequently. She announced her retirement from the entertainment industry, focusing all her attention on me. But my career was developing rapidly, leaving me no time for her. She made a big show of sending me flowers and breakfast, even changing her profile background to our university photos. Even the teachers in the office envied me.
A beautiful woman sends you things every day. You're so lucky.
Little did they know, this had been my daily life for the past 6 years. Recently, I had contacted a doctor abroad who had made new breakthroughs in skin repair technology. I planned to visit during my vacation. But someone didn't want me to have it easy. The online controversy had mostly died down, but David still needed to work. If he didn't regain some public favor, his comeback would be difficult. So, he released pictures of Richard and Helen in the hospital.
Serious, I have never been a homewrecker, nor have I interfered in anyone's relationship. On the contrary, Mr. Matthew has never respected his elders, causing both of them to be hospitalized. Who knows how long it will be before they can be discharged.
The public opinion began to shift again. I ignored it and focused on my work. But some irrational fans found my rented apartment and had people throw eggs and dog waste at my dormitory door. I could clean it up, but the neighbors couldn't stand the smell.
Unfriendly. If you can't handle this, you can't rent this place anymore.
This was the most cost-effective place near the school, and I couldn't afford to lose it. Just as I was thinking about how to solve the problem, a new issue arose. David recorded a video of Richard. This time, Richard didn't lose his temper but played the emotional card. In the video, Richard looked pale on the hospital bed, needing help even to drink water. His voice was weak.
Sad, I didn't want to take up public resources, but I feel really uncomfortable. My daughter, I've watched her grow up since she was so little. If she married a man like David, I wouldn't say anything. But she married Matthew, who doesn't work and isn't very good looking. He could match with anyone, but why my Emily?
The world's parents' hearts are pitiful, and many people began to empathize with Richard after seeing the video. Some comments seemed to know the inside story.
Matthew indeed doesn't work and relies on the Song family.
No matter what, I still think David is better than Matthew.
Another wave of public opinion surged. Many people started calling me a freeloader and a gold digger. My substitute teaching job was also affected, with anonymous reports claiming I was unprofessional in class. I decided to wait for an opportunity. Emily hadn't contacted me recently. The only message I received from her was 3 days ago, saying she was stuck at home and couldn't come out. I was happy to be free. Until David's actions escalated, filming Richard on the hospital bed every day, gaining sympathy from netizens. I then released a video. It was the video of me shielding Emily from acid. I sacrificed my face for Emily. If not for that, I might have had a chance to become a good actor. Soon after, David was exposed for having an inappropriate private life, secretly contacting female fans. He was completely banned, and Richard's reputation, built over many years, also plummeted. Those who had insulted me online turned around and apologized.
Angry, no matter what, my face is intact. What about yours?
Relieved, it's better than being banned.
I said and hung up the phone. Later, I went abroad for skin repair. Although it wasn't fully restored, it was much better than before. Everything was getting better. Until Emily found me again. Emily finally spoke up after a long silence.
Divorce? I won't agree to it, so don't even bring it up. Besides, how will you support yourself after the divorce?
Since my facial injury, I had become a full-time house husband. Back then, Emily would gently touch my face and reassure me.
Michael, it's okay. You still look as handsome as before. She would kiss my scars and assure me of her love.
But now, looking at her confident demeanor, I realized everything had changed.
I have hands and feet. I can earn my own living. Remember to sign the papers tomorrow.
I said, leaving the house.
You think you can find a good job? You're disfigured, you know.